Her husband threw her out when she gave birth to black triplets. 10 years later, something incredible happened. Sophia lay exhausted in her hospital bed as the cries of her newborns filled the room. It should have been the happiest moment of her life, but instead she felt confusion and heartbreak. Her babies, 3 beautiful, healthy triplets, had a darker skin tone she couldn't explain. Lucas, who had been by her side throughout her pregnancy, had stormed out of the room the moment he saw the children. Shortly after, Lucas returned, not to comfort Sophia or hold their babies, but to accuse her of betrayal. "How do you explain this?" he yelled, pointing at the newborns. Sophia was stunned. She had never been unfaithful to Lucas and couldn't understand why her children looked so different. But Lucas didn't want to hear her explanations. He gathered her belongings, threw them outside the hospital door, and declared that she and the babies were no longer welcome in his home. Sophia pleaded with Lucas to listen, begging him to give her a chance to explain. But his mind was made up. "I don't want anything to do with you. Find the father of your kids and go live with him," he shouted before walking out of her life for good. Sophia was left in shock, alone with her newborns and no idea how she would get through the coming days. The hospital staff, moved by Sophia's plight, tried to help her as much as they could. But Sophia knew she couldn't stay there forever. With no money, no home, and no support, her future felt bleak. What should have been the most joyous moment of her life had instead become the beginning of a nightmare that would change her life forever. As Sophia left the hospital with her 3 babies, she was desperate but not alone. Her mother, Elizabeth, immediately stepped in to help. The older woman, full of compassion and determination, welcomed Sophia and the triplets into her modest home. Despite having little herself, Elizabeth provided a roof over their heads and the emotional support Sophia needed. Slowly, Sophia began to recover from the shock, but the challenge of raising 3 babies on her own was overwhelming. The financial strain was immense. Sophia had no job and knew she needed an income urgently to care for her children. With Elizabeth's help, she began searching for ways to stabilize their lives. Despite her exhaustion, Sophia soon found a job that provided a modest income. While Sophia worked long hours, Elizabeth devoted herself to caring for the babies. Together, they managed to navigate daily life, even as the burden tested their limits. However, their struggle was soon overshadowed by a new threat: Lucas. After weeks of silence, Sophia began receiving disturbing messages. At first, they were letters accusing her of ruining Lucas's life, but the threats quickly became more personal and unsettling. One day, Sophia found a note under her pillow, even though all the doors had been locked. It became clear that Lucas was interfering in her life, and she no longer felt safe in her own home. The threats grew so alarming that Sophia involved the police, but without solid evidence, it was difficult to hold Lucas accountable. Eventually, Sophia realized that the only way to protect her children and herself was to start anew. With Elizabeth's help, she packed up their belongings and moved to another city, far from their old home. Although leaving was painful and meant giving up the job she had worked so hard to secure, Sophia knew it was the best decision to ensure her family's safety from Lucas. The new city gave Sophia the chance to build a life free from fear and threats. With Elizabeth's unwavering support and her own determination, she started afresh. Sophia found a job at a small company that offered flexible hours, allowing her to care for the triplets. The children, now older and full of curiosity, were thriving. Their laughter and joy became Sophia's greatest source of strength as she tackled the challenges of everyday life. The modest home she shared with Elizabeth became a sanctuary of love and security. But the peace Sophia had worked so hard to create was shattered one day. During the triplets' 10th birthday celebration, a sudden knock at the door caught everyone's attention. Sophia opened it to find Lucas standing there, thin, weary, and with a look of both remorse and desperation. The cheerful atmosphere in the room instantly turned tense and uncertain. Lucas fell to his knees in front of Sophia, begging for forgiveness. He confessed that he had been haunted by guilt for years and had recently learned the truth about the children. Yet instead of feeling relieved, Sophia was overcome with anger and disappointment. Lucas explained that his mother had admitted shortly after the triplets' birth that she had once had an affair with a black man, revealing a genetic connection to their darker skin tone within his own family. However, Sophia wasn't ready to forgive him. She reminded him of how he had abandoned her, stolen her money, and terrorized her with threats. Her anger, combined with her resolve to protect her children, left no room for reconciliation. Lucas's return brought no closure. Instead, it reinforced how much stronger Sophia had become and how far she had come without him. Lucas sat on the sofa and began to share his story. He spoke about his mother, who had confessed to having an affair with a black man years ago, a secret that had been hidden across generations. Lucas admitted that he had fled after the triplets' birth out of fear and shame, believing Sophia had betrayed him. Now, armed with the truth, he deeply regretted his actions. He pleaded with Sophia for a second chance, promising to be there for her and their children. Yet, as he spoke, Sophia listened with a steady gaze, her resolve unshaken. Sophia allowed Lucas to finish, but her decision was already made. She reminded him how he had abandoned her during her darkest hour, how he had made her life unbearable, and how he had utterly shattered her trust. "You left me when I needed you most," she said firmly. "Now that I've built a life without you, I refuse to look back." Her words left no room for ambiguity. Lucas would not be returning to her life. The triplets watched the scene from a distance, and Sophia knew she needed to set an example of strength and self-respect for them. Eventually, Lucas left the house, visibly defeated, but Sophia felt liberated. She had regained control over her life and could now focus entirely on her children. The days following Lucas's departure were challenging, but Sophia stood firm in her belief that she was strong enough to endure. She later sat down with the triplets to explain that Lucas was their father, but emphasized that love and family are not defined by blood alone, they are defined by actions and responsibility. With her mother Elizabeth by her side and an unwavering determination to provide for her children, Sophia embraced a future she had built on her own, free of fear and full of hope. Sophia's story is a powerful testament to the strength and determination of a mother who refuses to give up despite the odds. She proved that true family is not about bloodlines, but about love, accountability, and the willingness to stand by each other. Amid betrayal and pain, Sophia found the courage to rebuild her life and raise her children with resilience and compassion. This inspiring tale reminds us that even in the darkest moments, we can find the strength to persevere and fight for our happiness. If this story moved you, please leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming and empowering stories. Thank you for watching. Until next time.